I'm Ken Troop, lead designer at Turbine Entertainment Software, working on Dungeons & Dragons Online. What really separates Dungeons & Dragons Online from the other MMPs on the market is that we're not trying to be a massively multiplayer game. We're really focused on being an online role-playing game. That difference is not just a semantical difference for us, right? We're not concerning ourselves or focusing on trying to create a large, persistent state world that has to, have certain realities of the world. What we're really doing is just focusing on, is this a fun online D&D experience in which you and your friends can create D&D characters and go on adventures, in adventures meant solely for you and your friends. One of the big changes that we've done compared to other MMPs is that we don't have empty, endless landscape that you have to traverse in order to get to where the action is. You can get in the game, you can join the party with your friends, and you guys can be transported immediately to where the dungeon or where the lost landscape is that you're looking for, and just get right into the action. The other thing is that all of these adventure spaces are solely just for the purposes of you and your friends. There's no outside interference from griefers or other players who don't share your goals. We instance a copy of every adventure that you're going on. So when you teleport into a dungeon, that dungeon is just for you and your friends, and what you guys do determines the state and ultimately how you conquer that dungeon. The size of the game is basically predicated around our world model. So the world model is that there's a shared public space, what we're calling our city spaces. The game is set in the world of Eberron, which is the newest setting from Wizards of the Coast, and we're set in the city of Stormreach. And Stormreach is comprised of a number of different wards in the game. That's the main public space of the game. So this is where players congregate, this is where players can meet and greet each other and see each other and form their parties. Also then, we have a number of instance dungeons that you can go into, whether those are beneath Stormreach, but those dungeons can also be far away, on the other side of the continent, or deep within a mountain, or they can also be on landscape, right? So the jungles of Zendrick can be an adventure. So in this sense, we have the entire world to play with. But in terms of the shared physical space, we're really trying to purposefully concentrate that around these 8 wards of Stormreach, so that it feels like a very dense and vibrant space where you can get a chance to know everyone, everyone can get a chance to know you. We didn't want to create 50 square miles of space, and then it may be a very long time before you come across someone else that you would want to group with. Eberron is a very different setting than some of the previous fantasy settings that have come before it, such as Forgotten Realms or other fantasy settings. Eberron is a really high magic, pulp noir type of setting. So Indiana Jones, Maltese Falcon, these are all the types of forebears, antecedents that have informed what Eberron is. It's a world where magic has almost come to assume the form of technology in terms of what it allows these urban civilizations to form up. So what we're able to do is create a much more relevant and real setting in terms of the fantasy than perhaps some of the previous settings. Alignment matters a lot less in Eberron than it does for these other settings. So there can be good people and evil people, and they're grouped together because they share common political interests or they share common economic interests. We very early on wanted to go for a much smaller server population than the other MMPs out there. Many MMPs today, it's equivalent to being dropped in the middle of Manhattan with $5 and say, hey, go find your way around for a week and survive. And many players, understandably, are, what am I supposed to do now? We wanted something in which more like a small town Mayberry type of experience, in which you are much more likely to form connections quicker because there is an overall smaller server population that's much more manageable to know, much more manageable to, keep in your mind that, well, hey, I remember that guy. I remember, he was real nice to me and he helped me out. Because of the smaller server populations, what you do and how you behave really matters in ways that, no arbitrary game system can replicate. If you're a jerk in the world and in how you play, that will quickly become known to the other players. So it's in your best interest, to try to be a good citizen, behave well, be a good party member. Because we're a D&D game, and also just in terms of the trend of MMP games, we decided that we didn't want to award experience points per kill for a given monster. One of the things that one of the things there is that it's very D&D to kind of go on these adventures and be rewarded for the adventure. It's rare in a D&D pen and paper session that the group is sitting at the tabletop and someone says, I killed an orc, how many XP was that? Oh hey, I leveled up, stop everyone. It's all predicated around, at the end of the adventure, everyone kind of gets their spoils in terms of XP and loot. So that was something that was very strong that we wanted to carry forth. The other thing is that the model of XP per kill typically incentivizes in MMPs today very tedious and boring ways of playing, right? So if I find a certain monster that I know is going to, be the optimal path of effectiveness in terms of getting XP over time, I'm going to sit in that spot, kill that monster over and over and over again, saying to myself, this sucks, I hate this is so much not fun, and yet I'm still there 2 hours later doing this. What we were incentivizing was actually fun gameplay. So going through, finishing these different types of quests, finishing these missions, that's how you get your experience. You're always forced to kind of be finding new adventures, finding new ways of getting through them, and that's the path to advancement, not just camping in one spot. D&D Online is scheduled to release in Q4 2005. And we're really looking forward to putting out a game that, is the only game out there that's going to allow people to create their D&D characters and play with their friends on really true classic D&D adventures.